When March began getting warmer, I began reminiscing about my garden, and I couldn't wait to get started. But it continued to rain, and well, it was just too wet to do anything. And then I got hit with a severe case of strep throat. So it was just a matter of waiting and working on feeling better. And last year was the first time we successfully planted and harvested quite a lot, and I miss the sheer beauty of what it became. And this year I have plans to do all this and more, so let's take a mid-spring tour of my garden and talk about a few plans along the way. My name is Laura, and welcome to Applewood. There was a time when people actually valued dandelions and red clover, but now we have suburban lawn culture with perfectly manicured lawns. And so these plants have been blacklisted as invasive and or aggressive weeds, and I think it's wrong. In the gardens that I plant for years to come, I am going to include these plants as valued members of a soon-to-be permaculture living in my suburban backyard. No more lawn if I can do it properly. And I am growing red clover again this year, and how much I actually fell in love with this little legume was a big surprise for me last year. I put it in a pot to control it, and we are considering letting it go into the yard. It's thought to be aggressive, but it is used as cover crops, and the pollinators love it. Not to mention that it is a very medicinal plant as well, so it is getting included again this year. And I let the dandelions grow in spring. And this is an underrated plant. It used to be so popular about 100 years ago. Again, it is medicinal. And I have plans to plant a pink version of these with these seeds I bought from the Baker Creek Seed Company. But what can be done with them? Well, I have plans to make dandelion root tea. Over the last few days, I decided to make a root beer version of kombucha. This included 2 tea bags of dandelion root tea, 3 tea bags of sarsaparilla, and a host of other spices such as ginger, star anise, cinnamon, cardamom, clove, allspice, vanilla, and some organic raisins, which was then steeped for 24 hours with blackstrap molasses and some organic cane sugar. And this combination really does taste like a true root beer. And then, of course, I mixed it with my kombucha starter. Now, it's been cold in the house lately, and the kombucha is not going to be ready for a while, but I am certain this is going to be quite a success. One of the things that took off in my early spring garden this year is tarragon. And this is really not an American kind of herb. It's most popular in French food, and I had so much of it. It's growing, yes, like a weed. And, well, I wanted to get creative, and so I found a recipe for tarragon fish cakes on Pinterest. This recipe really fired up my newfound love for this herb. The cakes are a combination of tarragon, garlic, onion, and cheese, and simply fried up into these little patties. I also made a tarragon vinaigrette, which I combined with a green bean medley using almonds and pepitas. And this meal paired really well with deviled eggs and some of my newly fermented apple and celery sauerkraut. The whole dinner was delightful, and it really makes me look forward to all of the light, airy, simple summer dinners that can be practically pulled right from the garden and onto the table. And in the garden this spring, well, it's my red raspberry bush. I was unprepared for the absolute size this bush turned out to be, and well, we are going to have to give this plant an area in the yard all of its own. It is currently sending out runners that, if left to themselves, will take over the garden, and this is just not a good idea for this small space. I've got some ideas on how to manage this bush that I intend to implement over the year. But I admit that I am so looking forward to red raspberry preserves and sauces once again for the summer. And then, of course, blackberries. And these are much easier to control, in my opinion, though I started with 1 plant last year and now I have 3. So I wanted to move this one for the summer, but we are behind on account of the cold weather. So I am going to train this on a trellis, and it should be fine to be in the enclosure for 1 more year. And of all of the berries, I'm finding this blackberry to be the most beautiful. There's just something to be enjoyed with looking at these delicate purple flowers as this bush begins to blossom for the summer. And I had no idea how hearty and happy and easy to grow these berries would be. And once I get the hang of it, I think we're going to have quite a harvest in the years to come. And we are replacing many of the fruit trees that once lined our large backyard in the 1970s. And we've added 2 apple trees this year, 1 Gala, and of course my favorite, the Golden Delicious. And I had to remind myself not to plant too many apple trees. I will have far more apples than I will ever need. But we are looking forward to adding peach, pear, and plum in the future. Our large suburban lot is nearly 400 feet long, so we have plenty of room. And as for tomatoes, you bet I'm doing them again this year. I have a ton of rogue little plants sprouting up all over the place. And these are the cherry version of which I had so many last year. And I am attempting to grow additional unique versions such as Carbon Black and Napa Chardonnay. But again, the cold weather is making this far more difficult than I had hoped. I have cucumbers, some exotic types starting to sprout beautifully, so I bought these rather cheap round trellises for them. They're not too bad actually, though not the sturdiest of items I have ever bought, but I think they will do well to hold up the cucumbers that we get this year. This is horseradish. This is a brand new thing for me. I literally need to get some info on how this thing grows and how to harvest it. I don't really have a clue what to do with it now that it seems to be rather happy growing in this bag. Honestly, I thought it was just going to die off when my friend gave it to me, but it's been really happy and I'm suspecting that I'm going to be making something out of it by the end of the season. And let's talk lemon balm. This is such an easy plant to grow and it's so calming too, and you can smell it when the wind blows. So I decided to take some inside and make up some lemon flavored finishing salt. Of course, for this recipe, you're going to need 1/2 cup of coarse sea salt, and to it you will add lemon peel. Now I prefer to chop mine instead of grating it. It creates nice pieces of bright yellow flakes that not only enhance the flavor, but it adds to its visual appeal. And from there you can add as much lemon balm as you'd like. I prefer about 2 heaping tablespoons, very finely chopped. Lastly, I add lemon thyme, and this is a delight. It's kind of a secret exotic ingredient that makes the salt really special. Then you'll want to really give this a very good stir. Grinding all the ingredients together, you want the salt to blend into all the flavors. And from there, I always dry the salt in my kosori, though leaving it on the table or in a warm oven for a day will dry out all the ingredients, and it is imperative that they are all, in fact, very dry. From there, you bottle it up and use it for whatever your heart desires. This particular salt combination I am giving to a friend. And in the description below, there are links to all kinds of finishing salt flavors. This is the kind of thing that makes summer so much fun. I had such big plans to add onto the garden this year, and instead, I keep waiting for a warm enough day to finish the planting and get the peppers into the garden beds. For days, it's been hovering around 60 degrees, rainy, and not much else. While the rain is welcome to the new plants, it is making it impossible to get anything else done. And I did catch a sunny day where I found my favorite pot broken in a number of pieces, so I have repurposed it to stand sentinel just inside the garden gate while holding on to a few nasturtiums. Now, if you're not growing these, you should be. They are edible, though sometimes spicy, and they are very pretty and lend themselves to keeping pests off of your vegetables. I got a hold of a number of different colors, including white and peachy pink, and I just can't wait to make nasturtium jelly again this year. And no, it wasn't spicy at all. This is a versatile plant with so many benefits. So this is my late spring garden for this year. I am so late getting everything done, but I'm also excited to see this come together. We are expanding into the backyard slowly but surely. I'll need more room for the fancy tomato varieties, and I bought some of these small raised red beds, and they are rather easy to assemble as well. And we have so much work to do. I doubt we will get it done this year, but who knows? It's still worth all the effort, and providing for your produce is rewarding in and of itself. So that's all for me today. Are you gardening this year? I would love to know what you're growing. And be sure to stop by in the future because I have more plans for flower beds and decorative touches. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next time.